Today we are talking about pCloud. Now pCloud is a backup system. It's a document storage library on the web. It's a service that you can pay for. You might already have OneDrive configured. You might have the basic, let's say you've got the 5 gig of OneDrive and you don't want to pay for the entire terabyte or things. You might want to just use something like pCloud instead. Perhaps you've got OneDrive already and you want a secondary backup to keep everything safe in an additional location. Really, whatever your circumstances are, the pCloud and the OneDrive can coexist quite happily on the same machine. And I'm going to show you how to get a pCloud account set up, how to download the client, how to configure it, how to do some snapshots, how to copy files up there and get cracking on that. So you'll find it is actually quite easy to do. I'm going to take you through everything right now. First thing I want to look at though is, let's have a look at the file manager of this machine. You can see it's a standard machine logged in with OneDrive configured. You can see we've got some documents there. We have, let's have a look at the backgrounds here. We've got some files. Obviously, we're going to use for this purpose. If I jump into the OneDrive down here, you can see it's syncing nicely. Having a look at settings and the manage backup. You'll also see that we're syncing documents, pictures, and desktop to the cloud as well. About 1.4 gig of those out of the terabyte we've used. So everything is configured nicely. But let's jump into the pCloud site and have a look at that now. So the first thing we obviously need to do is create a pCloud account. So let's go to pcloud.com. You can see that's our standard option there. And you can see here we can get 10 gig of free storage. Now, there are certain things you have to do to get the 10 gig. They don't just give you 10 gig. You start with the base amount and go upwards, but I'm going to show you that as I go through. So we're going to create an account for this chap called Bob Jones on Cozy Mouse. Create that and put his details in here. So we just key that in. Bob Jones at cozymouse.com. Here's my test account. And we'll give him a password. Accept the terms and conditions, which we've clearly already read earlier, obviously. And create that account. I'm not going to save any credentials there, I don't want to do that. But you can see the first thing it's asking us to do is to, like it says, unlock the full potential and download pCloud Drive. Now pCloud Drive is the software that goes on your machine which does all that syncing process for you. It's very similar to OneDrive in how it works. So I think what we do first thing is we will actually go ahead and download that bit of software now. We'll just hit download there and we get some instructions there on how to install it. But quite easily we just go into the executable and kick it off. Once again, agree terms and conditions and hit install. We'll get our normal prompt there. Let that do its thing. Now I'm not just going to run straight and launch that app. I'm just going to hit done there because I want to show you a few things around this web interface first. Now the first thing is up in here, because we're automatically logged in as we did, is we can hit here continue to pCloud web, because obviously you can do everything through the web version or the desktop version. Obviously you need to sync files off your desktop, you need that version, but we can browse files and do all the management of it through this pCloud web. So we'll go into that and you'll see you get the normal my.pcloud.com. and we get some few things about guiding us through. It's the first time we've done it, so I just say yep, we've got it, great, thank you very much. And what it's done is it's dropped us straight into the files and the browse section. So this is our main menu down the left hand side about everything, and it's giving us the creation point. It's already gone ahead and created my music, pictures, videos, things like that. It's a basic set that it does for you. But before we go into some of these settings here, I want to have a look at this here and go into settings. Now you'll see it's given us 2 gig for free immediately, and what we've got up here, you can see unlocked 2 gig, still locked away are the 8 gig, which it will give us provided we do some of these things as tasks. So if I go in here and just have a look at settings and have a look at the account, you'll see the first thing it really wants us to do is verify the email, which we can do here. It's also giving us the option to do it up here as well. So either way, it does want to verify that email, so that's a good step to do. So we'll go ahead and click verify and it will send us an email. So let's now jump into Outlook. And we should see that one appear. while we are waiting for that email to just drop in, there's a few other settings in here which are important to look at. Yeah, obviously things like your data region and plan. We're on the basic plan, which only gives us the option for the 10 gig. We can't go above that. We can upgrade it to more and more data as we want to do. That's up to you if you want to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to work with the free one for now. But other accounts there, things like the linked accounts, you can set up to do other functions like linking it to your OneDrive or your Google Photos. Security, if you want to do two-factor authentication, great, go turn that on, changing passwords. They do offer a quite cool little service, which is the crypto subscription. You can encrypt everything, which is kind of good if you want to do that. Notification, it's going to start sending you lots of emails. If you really want them, go and turn them off there if you want. And obviously any payment history, but this one here is quite good. Speed test. Now let's do the speed test and just see what the connection to their servers really looks like. We just click on the start there and we see what we can do. If I go down a little bit, so we're getting a relatively good download speed, 40 meg, and even more impressive upload speed. There we go, 180. So that's really telling us that yes, we do have a good strong connection to pCloud, which is certainly good to see. Now, still no email yet. Now, I'm not terribly surprised by that because I have had them take 20 minutes, half an hour sometimes to come through for pCloud. I'm going to skip over the part where we have to verify the email. We can continue without that for now, but we will come back when I see that email pop in. We'll go and click on those links from there. But so don't be put off if it doesn't come through straight away. That certainly can happen. It's happened to me on a lot of occasions, as you can witness right now. So here, if we do the next step, you can see the next one is do a test, upload a file. And how we do that, you can hit the upload file here. But if you look on the file section, you can see this is where we start to see what we have in our storage, our little storage bucket. So here is what we have. I could say upload file from here, and we can say file upload. We'll browse, and we'll just go and grab one of them. Let's go and grab one of those documents, something that we've got in there already. Let's have a look at maybe this one. Here we go. Let's grab a little test file, pop that in there. And all good, click out of that. You can see that is now telling us, even though we've just got a very small file which we've uploaded, that is now extra unlocked. So now we're up to 3 gig. So that's a bit of fun. You just go through these steps, you get the little tick boxes as you're going through, and we can continue on. So the next one being the download pCloud drive. Now, it's not enough just to download the software. We did that when we first created that account. So that's already done. What they're really asking us to do here is to run it for the first time, configure it with your username and password, and then it can start to make those linkages on your PC. And once you've done that, it will then unlock that other gig. But obviously, it's a useful thing to do. We do want to be doing that. You may decide, well, actually, you know what? I'd only want to have it as just cloud storage, and I'm happy with this. You might be buying the additional storage to get more space, or just using this free amount that you have, which is also fine to do. Whatever your circumstances are, obviously go ahead with what you need. But what we do here is I'm going to now go into the pCloud drive, which we installed, and hit the sign in. So we sign in here with Bob Jones at cozymouse.com. And remember me, yep, good, log in, okay. So here we're talking about the sharing that you can do. You can invite people to your folders and things. These are just tips that it's going to bring up. I'll come back to that one a little bit later on, because I'm just going to say no, we don't want to show that introduction. We are good. Yep, we spoke about that. That's great. File history, similar like the Time Machine backup. I've used a Mac and used Time Machine on Mac. Same sort of thing there. But here we just do the Open Drive. Now on the main screen, before we just jump in and do the backup or the sync, just want to go across and look at this account screen. Here you can see there's your log on. You get to see a good accurate picture of what you've used on the system already. And you can see we've got our locked 6 gig. We haven't completed some of those other tasks yet, but that will unlock if we do those. And you can obviously upgrade your storage as well. So we're coming back to this here, backup and sync. Now I want to explain what they really mean, because there's two distinct versions of how this is going to work. What you can do is you can use the backup option which will synchronize all of your files and things to the pCloud. But what it will do is it will prefix everything with your computer name. So if I go across here, you can see at the moment in your pCloud, you've got, the My Pictures, My Music, and how you'd expect things like you might be used to with OneDrive. If I were to just say, okay, yep, great, we're going to take this machine, we're going to back up all of these items. Notice how you get downloads too, which is kind of cool. But we can take all of these folders and we can just hit backup, and that will go in there. What it will do is it will create a subdirectory with the computer name and then all the folders underneath it, and it will go ahead and sync down. Now that is very useful if you are having multiple computers that you might log into, because you get multiple versions on there going into the same pCloud, which, as I say, very useful if you're jumping between machines and the like. Or what you can do is you can keep it all in sync by doing a manual file mapping or directory mapping between what's on your desktop and what is on the pCloud, which is like what we have here with like the My Music, My Pictures and things. So I'm going to come back to this backup option a bit later, because I'm going to do a backup function with my C drive scripts folder, but I'm going to use the sync option because I don't want to use it with multiple machines. I'm just going to use this machine, and I really like having it set up so I've got documents, pictures, and music and things at the root level of the pCloud. So as I say, it's your choice how you might want to set it up, but that's something that I like to do it that way. I'm just going to show you both ways. You can choose which way you prefer. So let's suppose you want to do it with having the computer name and then everything listed underneath it. Let me show you how you do that quite easily. You just hit or decide obviously you want everything here and just hit backup, and it will go ahead and do that for you. That's easily connected and job done. But you can see here what it's done is it's now got pCloud backup as your subdirectory, and if we go into that, you'll see there's the computer name, and then there's all your folders which are part of that synchronizing process. And that's where you would find things if you are going into documents. I've got to wait for it to sync. There's not much coming through just yet, but you can see it's starting, as you can see here, to put things into this folder. Now that would work perfectly well. That's exactly where things are going to go to. As I said before, handy if you're doing multiple computers. But we're going to do it a different way. Let's suppose we want to map individual folders here into this directory structure from your computer instead. So in this case, going back to the app, I'm going to hit stop on each of these ones here, because what you can't do, you can't run a synchronization job on the same folders that you've got a backup job running. That is something you can't do on this for obvious reasons. Good. So once you hit stop on all of those, it's going to drop you back to this screen. Obviously there's no other jobs running, but you'll still have this going on here. So I'm going to just go and delete that folder, take that back to where we just were. Now of course that will go into the trash, but we'll just leave it there for now. It's fine. Now we're going to do the sync job instead. Now you might think, well, why am I bothering? Why don't I just let it back up on that one there? And of course that's perfectly valid to do. It is the simple option. Let me show you the sync items, and then you can decide which one you want to use yourself. So if we hit sync, you can see that nothing is in this sync library as it stands. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit add a new sync, and we get to choose a device folder, which is obviously on the machine, and choose where it maps to on the pCloud side. So I'll go device folder, and I'm going to go back into the documents here, and let's say I'm just going to hit OneDrive documents as the base is there. You see it takes what is on the suffix there and just says, well, do you want to map that to a documents folder in files? You can change it obviously, but that's really what we want to do here. So we're going to add that sync. As soon as we do that, it's going to start processing that job. You don't get a chance to say go or hold or anything like that. It's just going to start doing it. So that's good. But what I'll do is I'll do the same for so we look at pictures as well. And it doesn't matter where you select it. They all talk about the same place. You just grab it in here if you want to. It's the same thing. We'll say select pictures, go there, and new sync, and we'll add one for the desktop. This one here, desktop, select, will go on to desktop as well. And I will grab one for the music. So you can see this PC music, which is not part of this one here. It's not part of the OneDrive. So that's something that's important to note here. You don't have to choose the OneDrive folders here. You can choose any folder on your machine and get it to be part of the sync job. So we'll just say select folder there, add sync, and I will also grab, once again, not part of the normal structure, I'm going to grab downloads as well. And we'll grab downloads and put it into downloads too. There we go. And of course, please excuse my dog in the background there. But now while that's syncing up though, well, let's have a quick look at them. Some of them will be partly way through. Yeah, you can see the desktop ones starting to work. We've got the data there. We've got a directory though. And let's have a look at documents. Yeah, we're starting to see some data come through, which is good. What I will do though is we're going to do a bit of a cleanup job here. I'm going to take these folders here and I'll leave this one here, but I'll take that one. I'm just going to delete those just to make that a little bit tidier. We can see what we're doing. So really what we're doing with the sync jobs is taking everything, like I say, normal documents from your machine and placing it into this folder structure instead. Now we can add more and take them away, but I'm also going to add, let's go and add a new sync here. I'm going to grab another folder, which is my C drive scripts. Select that one, put that into scripts as well. I'm going to change the name of that, and I'm just going to call it under pCloud there, give it a new name, and I'm going to call it script backup, just to show that you can change things around a little bit and do it a slightly different way. So there we go, scripts there, and you can see that's going to be dropping into that folder, which we should see some data very shortly. Looks like that's finished now. That's good. We can see we've got files in that script backup, which is matching what's in C drive scripts, and of course it will synchronize accordingly. Now to show that off, let's go to our desktop. You can see we've got our music, but we have nothing in the music folder. Looks like we've been putting things in the wrong location. So let's go and change that and just see things happening on the pCloud side. So we go to desktop, we'll grab our music, and I'm just going to drop that straight into my music directory. I'm just going to blast that in there. And we'll go back to the desktop and I'm going to delete from here. There we go. And just see what happens here. So I'm expecting is at a desktop here, that should fall out and we should start to, well, already we've got music in there. That happens pretty quickly, and that will make those changes. And in here, you should see that one drop out as well very shortly. And there indeed, there we go, that's now gone. So obviously that's synchronized nicely and we are good. Now we've still got some other things to do. We can install pCloud on the phone so we can access files, obviously like it says there, anywhere you go, as long as you've got your phone with you probably. And of course the automatic upload you turn on as well. So with those two things turned on, you grab your photos and videos automatically from the phone. You're going to get an extra couple of gig too, which is always handy to have. And a pretty cool feature I wanted to show you just as we go through some of these here. You can see, yes, you've got things like public access to files that you can share things so that other people can get to them. The rewind is that time machine that I was talking about. The backups is the backup section, but like I was saying right at the start there with pCloud, you can then do the backups of the different machines. But this one in here, let's have a look at the backups and have a look at third party. Now I thought this was kind of cool that what you can do, you can link up your Dropbox, Google Photos, OneDrive, any of those things, and every 30 days it will go across to those areas and make a duplicate of what you have in that folder or folder, basically the whole drive, and copy that across into pCloud. So if you've got a pCloud subscription where you purchase like a lifetime storage of a couple of terabytes, you could have it just automatically pumping data from your OneDrive every month, and it just copies that over and keeps that forever. I thought that was quite a nice little feature. But obviously you've got things here for desktop, the backup, and the mobile backup as well, which I was speaking about earlier, and the other things when you share files or have the crypto folder. So there's a bit more to it than your average OneDrive collection. There's other things that they've put in there, which is rather good. You obviously pay money for that, but the pricing is actually quite reasonable. It's actually as cheap as the OneDrive storage too, which is rather good. Now a little word of caution though, remember that because I've linked up the desktop folders like here, like documents and pictures and things, I've linked them up and synchronizing them to my desktop. Now that is also synchronized up to OneDrive. So if I'm backing up all of my pictures in OneDrive, and I'm also backing them up in pCloud, remember that if I go into my pictures folders here and I delete pictures from pCloud, what will happen is that change will then magically synchronize itself back down to your desktop and out of your pictures folder. OneDrive is then going to see that change and it's going to make the same change. So if you start deleting things out of pCloud, when you've got the synchronization turned on to the same folder structure with two clients, OneDrive and pCloud, it is going to synchronize everything together. So please be careful that if you start cleaning up things on pCloud, it's going to clean up things on OneDrive in the cloud as well. They are synchronized together. And likewise, if you clean it up in OneDrive, it's going to clean it up in pCloud. So pCloud is great as that secondary backup, or the primary if you want it to be. But remember, they are synchronized together. So if you are going to use pCloud as your default and go away from OneDrive, you then want to go into your OneDrive and then unlink the OneDrive from your machine and then just use pCloud. Now, if you're interested in how to do that, all you do here is go down to your OneDrive here and you go down to your settings here, and under the account, you can say unlink this PC. What that'll do is it won't destroy anything on your machine. It won't destroy anything inside OneDrive. What it will do is it will just unlink the machine from the OneDrive storage and break that synchronization structure. Now, you could just hit stop sync and you could pick that up again, but doing the unlink completely removes that link. You're going to have to go back in and set it up. So like I say, if you're migrating everything and going away from OneDrive and want to use pCloud instead, having everything there is great. Then do the unlink the PC in your OneDrive and detach it completely. You certainly don't want to be in a place where you've tidied up your OneDrive and suddenly your pCloud is going to be exactly the same. So I mean, I laugh about it, but that's not funny. You don't want to be doing that by mistake and having all kinds of issues. The nice thing is with pCloud, if it were to happen, you do get that rewind status to say, you know what, let's rewind my pCloud to where it was a day ago and then recover that way. In OneDrive, you're just going to get the option to restore what you've deleted in a one-off function. The rewind will say, well, what was it like last week? What was it like 4 weeks ago? And actually, I've got to tell you, you're going to get 15 days worth of rewind on the free plan, the 10 gig plan. Anything more than that, you're going to have to pay for on a real plan as well. So just remember that too. But there's options around that. Just want to make it very, very clear. They sync together. So please be careful with that. Last thing before I sign off, I know it's a little bit cheeky, but if you are going to sign up and do paid storage on pCloud, please hit the affiliate link that I put in the YouTube description or on the webpage. It means that I get paid for it. You don't get charged any more money. It just means I get a small cut of it from pCloud just for being a really nice person. And you do like listening to these videos, I'm sure. So hit the affiliate link, helps me out. As I say, it doesn't cost you any more money. So I really appreciate that. And remember, hey, you know what? Subscribe to my channel. Please do that. Again, you know, I really appreciate that too. Love having all my subscribers. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next tutorial. Thanks, guys.